Bonjour à tous and welcome back to Lingoni French. My name is Alicia and I'm very happy to teach you again today. The lesson of the day will be the first of our A2 playlists. So for those who went through the whole A1 playlist, bravo. And for the people who are starting today with the A2 playlist, welcome, and I really hope that you will find these videos useful and enjoyable. The first lesson I chose for this A2 playlist will be regarding verbs and the three groups in French. Out of the three groups, two of them are quite nice because they follow some rules and we can consider that they are regular. The first group are all the verbs ending in ER except aller. Verbs such as manger, marcher, parler, étudier, aimer, préférer, voyager, and so on. The second group includes the verb ending in ER and having a very specific plural form that I'm going to talk about in a second. And the third group is the very big group with all the verbs that are not included in the first nor the second group. Let's go back to the first group. I decided just to illustrate a bit how they function, to make some very short sentences with je, tu, il, nous, vous, il, using different verbs in ER. So let's get started. Je parle français. Tu aimes les langues étrangères. Il mange beaucoup. Nous regardons de jolis paysages. Vous voyagez souvent en train. Ils achètent un nouveau téléphone tous les 5 ans. Elles s'appellent Julie et Jeanne. And to conclude with this first group and all the verbs in ER, I will choose the verb voyager and I will conjugate it in present simple. Je voyage, tu voyages, il voyage. Nous voyageons, vous voyagez, elle voyage. What do we need to know about this verb? That the pronunciation of the verb will be the same with je, tu, il, elle, on, il avec un S, elle avec un S, even though you will not write it the same way, but the pronunciation will be exactly the same. And we have the ending in ONS pronounced on with nous, and EZ pronounced et with vous. That was for the first group. It's really the group with which by now you are probably the most comfortable and you know quite a lot of verbs, you know how to conjugate them, you know the specificities, like, yeah, I know that the final ENT must not be pronounced, but that the pronunciation otherwise is quite easy and pretty much the same for everything except nous and vous. And the second group is also somehow nice. It's verbs ending in ER, such as finir, or choisir, ralentir, rougir, jaunir. Why not? Some examples would be je choisis toujours le même dessert. Nous finissons cet exercice et on y va. Ils ralentissent pour laisser passer la dame. Les murs jaunissent avec le temps. Okay, that's my examples with verbs in ER. And what's happening to these verbs, as we said before, is that the ending would be ES, ES, IT, and very careful here, ISSONS, ISSEZ, and ISSENT. It's extremely important to remember that because we have some other verbs ending in ER, such as partir, that do not follow this rule. You do not say nous partissons, but you do say nous partons. That's why it's third group. Yeah, third group is only here to trick you, basically. It's like, oh, it's a verb in ER, so maybe second group, maybe nice, maybe no. This one is third group, precisely because it's not following the same rules. Plus, even when you start with je, you don't say je partis, you say je pars. Third group. So first group, we got it with all the examples, pronunciation, endings, regular, nice. Deuxième groupe, IR, this double S in the plural, fine. Pronunciation-wise, not much to tell you, not much more. And then the third group is like, obviously, avoir, être, vouloir, pouvoir, devoir, prendre, venir, devenir, comprendre, aller, because Ali decided to do something completely different, partir, dormir. Okay. And so what else can I tell you about the third group? It's all the rest. And it's usually a conjugation that you need to learn by heart because it's not following a real rule. So it's by hearing, practicing, reading, repeating, making mistakes that we learn how to conjugate them properly. This really is the only tip I can give you, unfortunately. But what I can also tell you is that with these verbs from the third group, we have like verbs with 2 bases, deux bases, and verbs with 3 bases, 3 bases. What does that mean? Just to give you an idea of why it is sometimes a bit difficult to conjugate them. If I take the verb venir, for example, my singular will be je viens, tu viens, il vient. Okay, so first you need to remember that you're including an I here in singular. Then I go back to nous venons, vous venez. That's a second base. And then back to the first base. Ils viennent. Yeah, with a double N and an open S sound. And so it's quite a lot you need to remember. Je viens, nasal sound. Nous venons, neutral E. Ils viennent, open sound. 2 bases. You can also have 3 bases. Pouvoir. Pouvoir, in singular goes je peux, tu peux, il peut, right? Nous pouvons, vous pouvez. I'm kind of back to my infinitive structure. Nous pouvons, vous pouvez, and then ils peuvent. Again, careful with the writing, careful with the pronunciation, and careful with the switches from singular to plural. And even within the plural, we have a change between nous, vous, and il in plural. That's the idea when we talk about third group. I think instead of panicking when it comes to third group verbs, it's better to take it as a game. It's like, okay, if it's a verb in ER, fine. IR, 50-50. Is it a second group? Is it a third group? If it's a third group, how does it go? Like, for example, we said partir before, or dormir. Hein? You don't say nous dormissons. You said nous dormons. So it's also a third group. And it's also interesting, you see, because you say je dors, tu dors, il dort. And then you include the M that is in your infinitive. Nous dormons, vous dormez, ils dorment. It would be so logical, I guess, for a learner to say je dorme. Why not? Because it's third group. So you need to think a bit further. Okay, I hope this is not a bit of a downer to start the A2 playlist and that you will find this lesson useful and refreshing, and maybe that now you feel like checking all the verbs from the third group that exist in French. In any case, I would be very happy to read your comments with your sentences, with your verbs, even if they are verbs from the very easy first group. I'd be happy to read you. And if you'd like some extra practice, as always, feel free to check lingoni.com, our app, on which you will find a lot of additional exclusive videos, PDF worksheets, podcasts, and interactive exercises. So you'll be able to improve your reading, writing, listening, and even practice pronunciation. Thank you very much for being here again today with us, and I hope to see you very soon for a new lesson. À bientôt. Au revoir.